What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at some fantastic trades and losses this particular week. We're going to give a shout out to all those users to give them some kudos for their ups and downs within their investing trading life. First and foremost, we're just going to do a quick market recap. We are basically 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday the 17th of April, and we are up nearly 3% in the S&P futures. This is after a huge gap up after President Donald Trump announcing that he wants to reopen the economy and start putting people back to work, to start putting cash and stuff back into the economy to grow our GDP and to start consuming things again. Again, who knows if that's right or not? We will find out. So the market likes that news. Of course, that means more businesses are going to get more money, be able to spend, be able to collect, and all that fun stuff. On the S&P 500, especially on the futures, we have that very tight 28, 90-ish little stop here. And again, how did I get that wonderful little thing there? We just went down here, did the 50% retracement. We kind of did... We've been past the 50% retracement, but this is kind of in the no man's land in the sense of it has the next stop or the next point of resistance is going to be 29.27, 81. So if it breaks above this line and then continues above the Fibonacci retracement of 61.8, it looks like a potential close above that would be significant to the overall bullish trend. All right, so let's go ahead into some of the top stories here. I just want to give a couple shout outs to a couple individuals here. We're going to be looking at the one less fortunate one of someone's investing career not coming to an end, but basically coming to a full, complete roll, or basically a stall. Basically $117,000 to $5K. This is basically... Of course, he doesn't go into great detail on discussing his positions or what he did. If he was just doing completely the Wall Street bet style of trading, or is he actually being somewhat fundamental about it? This is the user. Again, this is a great title for the user, the Unlucky Gambler 69, basically showing that he was not able to profit from this venture. And I just wanted to highlight this just because a lot of people do fail the first or two times of trying to trade or invest, but once you get a hang of something, you start seeing the patterns and start seeing things and able to adjust from that. So that being said, we're going to punch right into the next story, which is the Mushroom Maverick. And he was saying after losing over 110K, this bear finally capitalized on some Amazon calls, and he is now up 150K with his total account reaching nearly $300,000. Again, these guys don't have small accounts. I know a lot of people out there have 2-3K accounts, and not saying that you should put everything in one basket, but it looks like that going YOLO sometimes pays off. Don't recommend doing that. That's not part of my investment strategy. My investment strategy is basically just try to stay alive and make it to the next day. Let's see. Then we have another guy here, another investing strategy here. All on Green 2020. And this guy does a nice little video showing that he was down nearly 64K. And then this is in February, but then with the overall market collapse of COVID-19 and different various trading strategies, and basically looks like he got a lot of puts and things like that, is able to capitalize on a huge downturn. So this is what happens with like what Peter Lynch and a lot of smart investors always talk about, in the sense of when the market volatility spikes, and the volatility went up substantially in the last couple months, basically the last 7 to 8 weeks, it's such a high potential to make money on the long and the short side. So you're seeing a lot of people who are just blowing up on Wall Street Bets or whatever else, are just making these huge gains because they were positioned right, they were lucky, most and foremost. but not as lucky as this guy right here, as Anna Rose basically posted this a little bit about 16 hours ago. He turned $34,000, which is a reasonable size account, to $566,000 in Amazon calls this week, and he got out. So he was able to capitalize on that, get that money, get that cash in hand, and be able to do for. So he actually did a fantastic, and I want to give him a huge kudos on the sense of being able to document everything. And this, I wish that the admins kind of pushed on actually showing their trades and the actually executions of everything, because you can doctor up a lot of things, but this is pretty insane. So this is basically, if you know the Robinhood app, he just has it on the 1 week spike here, basically dumping in quite a few calls. We'll look here in a second, and basically you're seeing that big spike over into Wednesday, Thursday, when Amazon just hit basically all-time highs, and we'll jump into the charts there once this we complete this thing. So isn't that all right? We can look here. So basically we're gonna flip in between this. So he was up nearly 1,000%, $515,000 in profits. That is wonderful. So you can see here his first trade on April 8th, which actually was not this week. It was a little bit net last week of 10 contracts at the 21.70 call price. So let's pull up Amazon, and we're gonna go to April 8th right here. So he bought it this day. He was saying that it was going to go to the 21, what did he say? 21.70, okay? So 21.70 is basically its previous high, and of course it blew completely past that due to the overall stay-at-home economy. It's just mind-boggling on how much Amazon has jumped, and of course how big the company is, and just comparison to so many other companies is just going to dominate. So we're actually going to create an alert here. Please load, thank you. I wonder if this ever gets added below. This will most likely come down because this is a huge explosion higher, and this will most likely trade sideways and slowly start coming back down to this line. Not saying I'm going to buy it there, but yeah. So we're going to go ahead and analyze that. So the trade was it for this expiration? It was for the May 15. So we're going to go to May 15. Boom. He bought the call for 21.70. So that's a long way down. I should have just... There we go. He bought the 21.70. Hi. Holy moly. If he held that, oh my gosh. Alright, so let's just look. We're going to send to red 1. That's my main charts. Holy moly. Whew, okay, so he basically bought it around $34, he said. So $3,400 he bought it. And then, of course, jumped up to 100, then to 200, now to $3,000. Or $300,000, my apologies. I'm sorry, I'm just a little awestruck here. And he basically, you can see here, he sold them at, where's the 515? He sold those at 92. Then it looks like he bought more at a fairly high price. So if he just held these May 15s, so he sold them on the 13th. So let's go back and look at the charts. So he sold them on the 13th, which is this first pop. So basically, he got like 1,000% return right here. Basically, we can just do a very simplistic analysis here. Basically, yeah, probably well over 250 to 300% increase in his options just that day. And then he bought multiple other options, and it basically gapped up again, and then just gapped up another third time. And this is just a huge momentum, a huge short squeeze, and a huge just run to the market. I'm just trying to get in to get the fear of missing out syndrome. this is, so if he held those initial 10 contracts, he paid $3,400 for those, right? Let's just pull up the calculator. All right, so he paid, was it 34, and he had 10 of those, right? He had 10 of those, so we can go 34 at 3,400. So yeah, $34.65. Let's do that. 0.60. Was it 64? Yeah. 65, my bad. Yikes, I can't delete that, can I? Clear, thank you. 34.65. And then he did it for 10 contracts. So we'll just do that. Or we could just do the 300. Let's do 300 times 10 times 100. So he could have had $300,000 from this initial investment, but he rolled it some more. So he rolled the dice some more. He went back to the table, as they call it, and that's when he bought the 2,300 call for the expiration of May 8th. So even an earlier expiration, for basically 15 contracts for $52,000 completing, and then he sold those literally the next day for basically 3 times the return for $150,000, and basically netting well over $100,000 in profit there. Then it looks like the exact same day he even rolled it more and did the 2630 call, but further out for the May 22nd, and buying those at $28, and he bought 50 contracts of those. And then he sold those. Whoa, those are the ones that made him the money. Looks like that. Holy moly. And he sold those an hour ago. So that was basically probably the 15th, maybe? The 15th, I guess, when he posted this. So it's maybe the 15th. Yeah, so that's when the things just went gangbusters for him. Basically going, so let's look at the 2,630 call for May 22nd. So let's go back to the trade. Oops, sorry, my bad. AMZN. Okay, it was May 22nd. And this call would not be in the money, but again, so many calls, if they're so far out of the money, but they start getting really close to becoming very profitable, that is when the huge incentive kind of kicks in. So he bought the 2630 right here. So we're gonna send this bad boy over to this chart. So this option wasn't even like available for quite some time, and you can just see this huge gap up, like huge gap up. And again, he doubled down much more on this one because I think he bought 50. Yeah, he bought 50 of those contracts, spending $150,000, and turned that 150 into basically his whole net worth. At base, that is just absolutely crazy. That is, wow. These are some crazy returns. It looks like he did a couple Disney puts that didn't really pay off completely there. Did some Apple as well. A lot of contracts in Apple. Wow. He lost some money in Apple, looks like, yeah. He bought them and then sold when he lost $3K, but that Amazon speaks for himself. The great thing is he was able to get out and take that profit and probably, hopefully, just invest in a simplistic dividend REIT and just continue to collect dividends off of that for the rest of his life. So that is basically Amazon in a nutshell. So we can do some analyzing on this guy. Also, I always like to look at this because of the standard deviations. So we have earnings coming up basically on the 30th, so the end of the month, so less than 2 weeks out. We're looking at a potential, again, this is a huge all-time high, huge pop, way out of the normal moves in the market because this is on a weekly chart, mind you. Let's go ahead and just look on a daily chart. This is going to be so far out of the third deviation channel, and this is why I think it's going to start coming down, because you can see this has happened before, where on earnings or something big news, it pops out of the 3 deviation channel and kind of rides it up for a little bit, but then it starts coming back down to earth, starts coming back in once these moving averages start catching up to it. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I think there's just so much momentum in Amazon and a lot of the stay-at-home coronavirus names that this can potentially continue to run and just trade sideways and just completely just blow everyone's mind and giving some crazy returns and probably taking a lot of money off the table for some folks. But this has been a crazy ride just this week, with amount of positive market moves, in the sense of the market moving higher, but on top of having some very mixed signals via the economic side of things. So it's going to be an interesting week, and doing some weekend reviews. Hopefully we'll live stream some of those videos for you guys folks. I greatly appreciate everyone watching. Again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I have a couple links in the description box on some books that I like to read. I'm going to be doing hopefully a live stream this weekend or the coming weekend to kind of give an overview of my charts. I also will have a link down below with the basic chart that I use within my Thinkorswim platform for charting and trading. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.